Coming up on this episode of the Talking Mac Podcast, we're going to be talking about Apple versus Microsoft. Now, this is going to get very interesting, so stay tuned. You will not want to miss it. Alright everybody, welcome back to the Talking Mac Podcast. Now, before I get into it, where I'm from, normally in November, it snows. It's getting really, really cold. And then by the time December comes, it snows. But down here in Atlanta, it's hot. Global warming. Take that into consideration. Global warming is true, whether you believe it or not. Okay. Let me tell you what else is true. The rivalry between Apple and Microsoft. I'm going to go through a couple of things and hopefully open up your eyes, and let me tell you, these are my thoughts, which can or cannot be true, but these are my thoughts. This is the way I feel with Apple versus Microsoft. Okay, so being that last week's episode was the macOS 10 Leopard review, I think it is fitting to start off with a review of macOS 10 Leopard versus Microsoft Windows Vista. Let's start out with the most simplest thing, installing the operating system over Windows XP over Tiger. Leopard, simple, easy. I think it only only reboot it like once, twice, maybe 3 times. Microsoft Windows Vista, if you've ever tried upgrading to Vista, you know that your machine rebooted at least 5 times. You know it. If you've ever tried it, you know it at least rebooted 5 times, which And then once you get there, you gotta type in. Okay, so some people say, well, okay, you don't really have to type in the activation key in excuse me, in Microsoft Windows. Well, yeah, you don't. You can get the 30-day trial, but afterwards, that operating system, that computer becomes physically unoperable because the OS power down itself after 30 days. You have to activate. You have to enter a 26 character product key somewhere around in the 20s. The point is, it's inconvenient. Apple trusts its users with this operating system upgrades. Hey, you could pay what is it? I don't know, $80 more to get the family pack. Okay, and you can take the single user license, which is no different than the multi-user license, and just pay $129 and install it on as many machines as you want. But Apple wants you to be honest. Apple trusts you to be honest. They say, hey, you buy single, we expect you to put it on single, and you'll do it. If you buy the multi-user, we expect you to do up to 5 computers, and you'll do it. They're trusting you, which is something Microsoft has not yet. Microsoft's such a monopoly. They don't even trust people. It's like, what will it hurt you if I install it on 2 or 3 machines? I mean, you're making so much money and everything else, You're everywhere. You got your office. You're everywhere. What will it hurt you? I don't quite understand. Now, let's go to boxing and packaging. This one is very, very small, very minimal, but it counts. Leopard box. I don't know if you've seen it. It looks absolutely spectacular. It has a little hologram thing, and normally when you get those holograms, you can when you take the thing and you move it and it change, you can rub your hand, scratch your hand on it, and it makes this horrible sound. Doesn't do that. Okay, and you get Windows. You have this hard shell case. Now, I went to Best Buy. Okay, I see Leopard. I see Vista. I went over to Vista, which was apparently in the Mac section. I don't really like that. And I went to Vista, and I picked it up, and it felt like it was some kind of... Okay, so what they think they're doing is they're putting it in this bulletproof plastic casing. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's not bulletproof, but very tough, durable plastic casing, so that you won't steal it. Okay? They don't want you to steal it. They put it in this hard plastic shell case so you won't steal it. and it's it's a pain to get open. Have you tried it? If you haven't, you know it is hard to get open. And once you get it open, there's no going back. You cannot return that thing. Once it's open, it's open. Hey, when we return right here, we got more topics coming up, such as iPod versus Zune, Windows Media Player versus iTunes, and much, much more. Stay tuned. We will be back in a moment. Hello, yes, I'm the host of the Talking Mac podcast, and I love myself some Mac news and rumors. Now, I've been looking for the perfect blog out there, and I just saw a new startup called the Mac Insider blog, and they keep you up to date on the Macintosh and app-related news and rumors. Now, it can be found at www.macinsider.tk. That's www.macinsider.tk. It's hard to find a blog that I love, but this new startup here is really cool, so I suggest you go check it out every time of the day and every day. www.macinsider.tk. Alright, everybody, welcome back. Let's get back to it. We're done with the OSs, and that's not all I could have said, because I will have other episodes if I want to say stuff about the OSs, OS wars, as they say. Let's talk about iPod versus Zune. Now, let me tell you one thing about the Zune. I would not be caught dead with a Zune in my hand. I'm sorry. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? The Zunes are so inconvenient, you know, and we'll touch on iTunes and stuff in a minute, but how about enabling disk use? You have to type in, you have to literally hack the device to make the thing enable disk use. Now, I'll admit, the new models do look nice. They look nice. Not better than my iPods, but they look nice, you know? And that Zune 30, it is so thick, the thing's a mammoth. It's just gigantic. It's just so huge. Now, and the interface, nobody can quite do that scroll wheel like the iPod. Sometimes I find myself picking up my cell phone and it has a little click wheel, and I try to scroll it like I do the iPod, and it just doesn't work. And I'm like, why the heck can't everybody do it? But I think Apple's got it patented. So that's the least I can say about the Zune without having to go into a whole nother episode. Let's talk about WMP versus iTunes. Now, this is really no competition. Come on, iTunes, and we could have done Zune Marketplace versus iTunes Music Store. But let's just do this right here. As in terms of a jukebox player for your PC, Windows Media Player is horrible. iTunes is great. I can download podcasts right in there, and I have a PC running. I have a PC, and I put iTunes on there so I can manage my content, and I get podcasts automatically downloaded to there. I cannot do that with Windows Media Player. I just can't. And there you have it. Let's talk about the iPhone OS versus Windows Mobile. Windows Mobile, I tried Windows Mobile, Pocket PC, and even Symbian. And once you touch the iPhone, you cannot go back. The Windows Mobile is so slow and so clunky. It's okay. I wanted a mobile computer, but I didn't want Microsoft mobile computer. It doesn't work for me. And you can add productivity applications on the iPhone. You can hack it if you want with AppSnap, which is a great one. Excuse me, or when Apple comes out with the SDK up in next February, you can actually pay to put applications on there, which is fabulous. So the iPhone will become the central hub as an iPod and as a photo viewer and as a video watcher, as a media player. It's going to be very fantastic. So Apple and Windows, Microsoft, both have their downfalls. Windows more, of course. I'm sorry, Microsoft more. But, you know, when it comes out, it's more of a personal preference. I choose Apple, you know, obviously, for obvious reasons, right? So, you know, I'm going to open up the comments for this very, normally I have the comments locked down. We'll open it up for this video and this video only right now. I'll open up the comments. You leave a comment whether you like Apple or Microsoft. Simple as that. You can argue your discussion down there, whatever. Please keep it clean. Thank you very much. Remember, join us here every week right here, youtube.com/TalkingMac, where we are always talking Mac. Join us every week because, like I just said, we're always talking Mac.